Thanks for being here. TheRealEstateExperts.com online. Search Metro Atlanta Real Estate. Or if you want to know your home's value, it'll take you straight to the home valuation page for anywhere in Metro Atlanta. It's househuntingonline.com. Househuntingonline.com. Check our finance tab at The Real Estate Experts. If you're thinking about refinancing, getting a mortgage, locking your rate for Bright Path Mortgage, you can apply right there at TheRealEstateExperts.com. I want to talk about something, Mackenzie, that kind of upset me this week. I'm not doing the full-time radio show anymore, so I find that even though life is not generally peaceful, I find a lot more peace not consuming all of the Mueller, FBI, political crap. But then, when you get out of the habit of really miring into or spinning your wheels into the news all day, where you kind of know everything that's going on, front, backwards, and forward, and all that. I thought one day this week, I said, well, I'm going to just drop in on the AJC and a couple of the websites I used to use for the show that I did every day and just check out the news. The first article I saw was on the AJC. Students admitted no matter immigration status, APS board affirms. So the Atlanta School Board affirmed its commitment to educate students without regard to their immigration status in a resolution that also urges the United States to reunite immigrant families separated at border crossings. Resolution approved by the Atlanta Public Schools Board in August states that separating immigrant children from parents has stirred up worry and fear. Well, no crap. When you break the law and come over the border without proper protocol and following our laws, then of course you're going to stir up fear and problems for yourself, because it would be just like if I went and robbed the SunTrust Bank in Buckhead, and then I came home that night with a bag full of cash.
I think probably be separated from your children when they came to get you.
Would be separated from my kids and my wife. And you probably, if I told you about it, would be at fear if you didn't turn me in that you might get separated too, because you were then an accomplice to my crimes, right? So if I went and robbed the SunTrust Bank, I'm going to probably have some fear if I have a brain, because I broke the law. Okay, that's the first point. But then the part that really bothers me about this, notwithstanding the fact that everybody who owns a home within the Atlanta Public Schools District pays a few thousand in taxes on average.
Plus, we have to do so much paperwork.
Wait a minute. I have to give you a copy of my utility bill, which is none of your damn business, Atlanta Public Schools. I have to give you a copy of the deed on my property, maybe
which they
a closing
have an issue
statement,
with because it's in a trust and it's not actually the name, so you have to have something signed.
And we have to provide you a copy of our person. And you people are government bureaucrats that can't do anything right anyway. And so you make me go through all of this paperwork to the point that no matter what I give you, it's never good enough to prove year after year that where we've been living and what is on our damn driver's license,
it's the same child going to the same school.
Right. So, but you're going to let these families just show up illegally and let them on in? No problem.
We talked to that guy last night whose ex-wife is moving out of the district. So now he has to move into the district in order to keep his child there. And I was just like, wow, that's a lot.
I looked at him and I said, well, that's a hell of a mess, isn't it? So you have to move your entire life.
I mean, he works out in East Atlanta, and now he's going to move into the Buckhead district.
Yeah, because he has to keep his kid there because wife's moving somewhere else. That's fine. But why do you have to do all that when these folks can just show up, right? And they don't even have legal status to be here. And then here's the thing that I really am bothered by, especially with Atlanta Public Schools. There's plenty to be bothered by the cheating, poorly run, incompetent Atlanta Public Schools. But this really bothers me even more so. So here we have the first day of the school year, which I would throw that off and just credit it to being the first day of chaos, kids going back to school, no big deal, let things get settled, everything be okay. If it hadn't been going on ad nauseum, almost consistently for the last 3 years, the bus doesn't even show up and leave 7 kids where we live at the bus stop location sitting there. I take a couple of them to school, including our son, and
what if you weren't there? What if you just said,
that's why a lot
have
of kids
a great
just
first day of school,
go back to their condo, apartment, or house and just sit there all day and don't get an education. And that's why they're all screwed up when they get in life, because their parents are off at work or they're single mom or whatever it is, and they can't handle it. And that's the best they can do. And the kids, like I'm not going to call and bother mom because I really don't want to go to school anyway. And so, and mom comes home, how can get mad at the kid? The bus didn't show up. All she can say is, well, why didn't you call me? Well, I will next time, right? So here you go. And then that afternoon, after I threw a fit with the school, like everybody I could possibly find, they dropped the kids off at a freaking bank on Lenox Road and let them walk a block or two, city block or two.
Half a mile away.
I wouldn't call it a dangerous area, but it's you're talking about 10 to 15-year-old kids probably.
This is not the most safest. I mean, we're near a MARTA station. We have had a couple of shootings and some theft.
And we live in a secure building, but it's not about that. It's about getting the kids into the secure building. Then you don't have to worry about it as much in theory.
What about the fact when one of our neighbors had her child on the bus?
But you're getting me off track here.
But he was tardy because the bus was late.
Oh, that just happened, right? So my point here is that they can't even run the damn bus on the right route and get that done because their excuse was first day of school and we're severely understaffed. You may have seen it in the news. I don't really care. Maybe if you would stop worrying about giving rights to illegal people who broke the law to come here and worrying about something that's not in the purview, that you don't serve illegals. Atlanta Public School Board.
But they do.
They
absolutely
No, you don't.
do.
You serve the tax-paying residents of Fulton County who live within the district of Atlanta Public Schools. That's where it begins, and that's where it freaking ends. Get it in order. And why we put up with this, I don't understand. We got kids in poverty in the inner city, which Atlanta Public Schools covers. A lot of them are ethnic. Some are Hispanic. They're, for those that are legal citizens, born here or legally here, even if you're not paying taxes, even if you're on government assistance and your kids are going to the school, you're deep in poverty. Why do you people tolerate this? Why do you allow the resources that need to be dedicated to your financial hardship, your children's future in education, your children's future in opportunity? Why do you allow their opportunity to be mitigated and replaced by people who are breaking the law and should be deported? I understand it's kids. I understand their parents made bad decisions. I'm sorry. I don't care. I think there's enough people in our country of 330 million people that need help that I can't possibly care enough to think about what's going on in other countries. I just can't. I think about, it's not about me here. It's about the fact that I don't like the backdrop of double standards, the invitation of criminality, the fact that our society is becoming more and more corrupt because there's no accountability.
Yes.
If I have to produce all of this and I'm legal and law-abiding and tax-paying.
Yes. And you're the one that will get in trouble. You will be the one.
And I'm the one that gets in trouble. God forbid I'm 1 foot out of the district. This illegal person comes here with their children and takes advantage of all of us, including the people who, I'm not even talking about the people who pay taxes and don't pay taxes. If you are a legal American citizen and you are on hard times for whatever reason, we should not punish your children. I think your children have a right legally to be educated in the Atlanta Public School district or location for which they live. And even if you just can't afford it, I'm even okay sometimes allowing them where there's space to go to better schools outside of the district. But that doesn't happen for the citizens, the rightful law-abiding citizens in poverty, struggling in our country, born in our country, legally in our country, whatever applies there. If they are populating the schools with people who are here illegally, that is criminal. It is absurd, and it should not be allowed. This is kind of like revolution territory, and it bothers me. And if I wasn't put through the ringer so much to prove my location of residency as a law-abiding American-born tax-paying citizen, maybe I wouldn't see it for the egregious double standard that it is. But when we went through the paperwork shuffle to get our son into his current middle school location, I finally told you, screw it. I'm not providing them any more data. He'll be showing up the first day at school. You will admit him. We've given you more than what you would deserve to see. Get out of my hair. Stop emailing me and go away.
And I don't think we ever heard anything back anyway.
Of course you don't, because once they realize they have to deal with someone who sees through them, they move on to the next person they can bully. That's really what they do. Liberals and bureaucrats are bullies.
This society has gotten so overwhelming.
It is. I'm trying to pay payments this week to some of our vendors, and the card that they have on file, I just made a $10,000 payment to pay it off. And because I guess normally I didn't have a $10,000 balance, so normally it's $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, so they're not accustomed to a $10,000 payment. So they drafted the check out of my account on Monday, and I've got to wait till next Monday to be able to use the freaking credit. Well, what? I should have just, hell, I wrote a check and it would have been faster.
Right.
There's nothing about our society today. And I said to the bank, I said, this is insane. Now you want to call my bank to verify that it cleared? Well, sometimes it cannot clear for 7 days. I said, no, that's a BS. That's an anomaly. It's an outlier. It's a single digit percentage of the time. I do rent at debits and credits out of people's account all the time. Within 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 business days, So it clogs up everybody's life. It makes the most simple things where we used to get a
Yes.
stack of bills, write checks, address envelopes, put a stamp on it, and send it out. And then we got on the line with the digital stuff, right? And everything became a digital transaction. And for a while, it was like, this is really cool. I can automate bill pay, right? So
In theory.
in theory, so you go into and you sign up for a bank account that you think is really nice, and you don't think about it and say, okay, well, do you have automated bill pay? Because who doesn't have that in the banking world? Capital One Business doesn't have automatic bill pay. You have to go in and manually do everything. So I go to SunTrust. This is great. So SunTrust, they'll give me automated bill pay, right? Yes. Then I go to put the first deposit in the account on the app, which every bank in the world except SunTrust Business has. And, oh, I'm sorry, we're not set up for online deposits anymore. So drive 45 minutes in Atlanta traffic, 2 miles round trip, to go put a deposit in the bank because we don't have the technology to deliver what every other bank in the world delivers. And I said, by the time I'm done, I've got to have 4 different banks to do what one bank ought to do quickly and easily. And the main reason is because there's this small percentage of people who are defrauding Americans because we generally are stupid. Our government is generally stupid. They don't do the things to protect Americans. And I hate European political standards, but even Europe does a better job of protecting its citizens than we do. And so it makes everything we do to play to the lowest common denominator in our lives now, which means that if
So
there's
difficult.
fraud out there, we're all assumed to be the worst of fraudsters. We'll pick up on that as we continue. The realestateexperts.com radio show. Back in a moment.